I swiped right, and there she was, a captivating smile and sparkling eyes, Nicole, the woman I'd been chatting with on a dating app for weeks. Our conversations had been filled with laughter and common interests, and we finally decided to meet in person. Little did I know that our date would turn into a nightmarish experience that would haunt me for the rest of my life. We agreed to meet at a charming little cafe in the heart of the city. The dimly lit streets and the cool breeze added to the atmosphere of anticipation. As I walked towards the cafe, my heart raced with excitement and a tinge of nervousness. I arrived a little early and secured a quiet corner table by the window. Nicole arrived fashionably late, her entrance drawing the attention of everyone in the cafe. Her confidence was undeniable, and I couldn't help but be mesmerized by her presence. She had that magnetic allure that left me spellbound. We exchanged pleasantries and engaged in casual conversation. It didn't take long for our chatter to flow naturally, and soon we were laughing like old friends. It was as if we had known each other for years. As the evening wore on, Nicole mentioned that she lived in an old Victorian house just a short drive from the cafe. She invited me to her place, suggesting we continue our evening there. My curiosity got the best of me, and I agreed. We left the cafe and drove to her house, which stood tall and imposing in the moonlight. It was a grand, century-old structure, complete with turrets and intricate architectural details. Nicole led me through the heavy oak door, and the moment we stepped inside, a chill ran down my spine. The interior was just as grand as the exterior, but it felt eerie and abandoned. The air was stale, and the only sound was the echo of our footsteps on the cold marble floors. Nicole guided me through the maze-like corridors, and I couldn't help but feel lost and disoriented. Eventually, we entered a room that looked like a forgotten library, with dusty books and antique furniture. The room was dimly lit by a single flickering candle, and the shadows danced on the walls, making the place seem surreal. It was then that I noticed a peculiar painting hanging on one wall. It depicted a woman who looked remarkably like Nicole, but the portrait was old, ancient even. My unease grew as Nicole seemed transfixed by the painting, staring at it with a distant, longing expression. I tried to make light of the situation, suggesting we return to the cafe, but she snapped back to reality and assured me that everything was fine. With a nervous smile, she left the room, promising to return shortly. Alone in that eerie library, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. The minutes dragged on, and I started to pace, my anxiety building. When I finally decided to leave, the door to the library wouldn't budge. Panic set in as I realized I was trapped. I began to call out for Nicole, but my voice echoed through the empty house, unanswered. Just as I was about to give up, I heard a faint whisper coming from behind the painting. The woman in the portrait seemed to come to life, her lips moving as she spoke in a voice that sent shivers down my spine. "Help me," she pleaded, her eyes filled with desperation. "You must save her. Confusion and fear overwhelmed me." Who was this woman, and what did she mean? I had to find answers, and my only option was to investigate further. I examined the painting, and to my shock, it wasn't a normal canvas but a window into another world. As I reached out to touch it, the painting sucked me in, and I found myself in a nightmarish realm. The woman from the portrait stood before me, and the room around us was in ruins, consumed by darkness. She explained that Nicole was a cursed soul, trapped by a sinister force that had plagued her family for generations. The only way to save her was to uncover the truth behind the curse and break it. I was her only hope, the first outsider to ever set foot in the house. The woman guided me through the haunted corridors of the house, revealing a dark history of forbidden rituals, tragic love stories, and unspeakable horrors. I encountered apparitions and witnessed the torment of the souls trapped within the walls. It became clear that I was in a race against time to unravel the mystery and free Nicole from her family's curse. As the night went on, I faced unimaginable terrors, each more horrific than the last. The house itself seemed to come alive, shifting and changing, as if it were a malevolent entity determined to keep its secrets hidden. I was pursued by vengeful spirits and forced to confront the sins of the past. Finally, In the depths of the house, I discovered a hidden chamber that contained a journal written by Nicole's ancestors. It chronicled the cursed history of her family and the terrible price they had paid for their dark deeds. I realized that to break the curse, I had to perform a ritual that would put my own life in jeopardy. With time running out, I gathered the necessary materials and began the ritual. It was a harrowing experience, as the spirits of the house fought to stop me. But I persevered, determined to save Nicole. As the ritual reached its climax, the entire house shook, and a blinding light enveloped me. When it subsided, I found myself back in the library, the painting now empty. The curse had been broken. Nicole appeared, disoriented and confused. She had no memory of the events that had transpired. I could only smile and assure her that everything was all right. We left the house and returned to the cafe, but I couldn't shake the feeling that the horrors I had witnessed would stay with me forever. Our date had indeed gone horribly wrong, but in the end, I had saved Nicole from a fate worse than death. As we parted ways that night, I couldn't help but wonder if our paths would ever cross again, and if the house's dark secrets would continue to haunt me.